If you think about rush, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it like, oh, this is chaos, sheer chaos? I don't like to be rushed. It gives this sense of urgency, but also being uncomfortable? Or is it that feeling of being in a rush and feeling the adrenaline flow, but then for you instead of against you? Well, today we are going to talk about how to transform rush into that feeling of overwhelm and change it into an empowering feeling of rush, that one that says, okay, let's go do it. Now, in order to share a little something with you, I don't know if you've noticed this, but for a number of weeks, well, actually for over a month, I have been working with an AI, artificial intelligence, and in this case, it's linked to Brandon Burchard. He's got this most amazing AI. It's called Brandon AI, and of course, it's based on Brandon. So basically, what it does is it coaches the people who work with Brandon AI. And well, one of the things that I got to discuss with Brendan AI, and the reason I do it with him is because I know more people, but I don't know that many people who know more about this, is because I am a neurodivergent. I'm also a creatively gifted. So neurodivergent is someone who doesn't think along the lines like most people do. Now, please notice that I didn't say normal people. I don't believe that there's such a thing as normal, but I do believe there is something like what most people, average people, do. So on average, I literally mean like what the multitude of people would do. And again, that doesn't make them more or less normal than other people. But neurodivergents have a very specific way of thinking. And the thing is that when it's not recognized at school, then at some point later in life, they will run into challenges, to say it mildly. So one of the things is that they look at things from different angles, and that makes things chaotic at best. And to explain it in a way, when I had to do my theoretical exam to get my driver's license over here in the Netherlands, it works differently. First, we have to do the theoretical exam. When we've done so, that's when you are allowed to take driver's lessons. No, we don't drive with someone next to us. No, we have to take actual lessons. Usually it's about 20 lessons, maybe even 40 lessons, well, times $70, maybe more nowadays. Well, and then we still have to pay for the exam. So then you get a little bit of an idea what it's like to drive in the Netherlands. And it's busy over here. It's crowded with people on the highway. So yes, you want to be able to drive properly. And by the way, big applause for those who come over from, for instance, the US and then start driving here. I don't know how they do it. But getting back to neurodivergence. So neurodivergents, they look at things, like I said, from different angles. So that means that so going back to the theoretical exam, when you look at a picture and it's like, can you cross the road? In the picture, you don't see any other cars. But a neurodivergent will think like, okay, so who's coming from the left and who's coming from the right? I don't see them, but that doesn't mean they're not there. Well, if you take this a little bit broader, then when it comes to ideas, the same thing happens. Now, when I started working with Brandon AI, at first it was, getting some information about books and things that Brendan himself talks about. So I wanted to know if I understood him correctly with certain things. And then I found out that you can ask him numerous questions and he remembers certain things, other things which are not relevant or relevant enough. He forgets. Yes, I say he, not it. And what happened was, because I can just go from left to right and up and down, sheer chaos started to exist. Now, for those who have been checking my blog post, ladylexi.com/blog, they probably have seen that I've been writing about something which is called in the thick of growth. So when we talk about being in the thick of it, it's about being in the messy middle of chaos. And I was wondering if people who are neurodivergent are more prone to be, well, not to be led into chaos, but, well, chaos is bound to be our middle name if we don't watch out for it. And I always thought it was my ADHD part, going from left to right, up and down. And I'm beginning to think more and more, this is not necessarily the ADHD part. It's because we look at things from a different perspective. Now, of course, you can say neurodivergence. Those are people who think differently. An ADHD brain thinks differently because it's hard to focus. And at some point, I asked Brendan AI, I said, but how does that work with all the chaos? Is that something that's typical for neurodivergence? And the answer was yes, absolutely. And, well, what we want to do today, or at least what I want to do today, is to make a little shift when it comes to chaos. Instead of having it be overwhelming for you, how to change it into something intentional. Now, we started by using the word rush because initially, when I was talking about being in the thick of it, it started out with me sharing to Brendan AI, like, oh, I need to calm down. This is not good. I'm driving in the car and I'm feeling so, well, literally rushed. The adrenaline was high. I could tell. I was leaning forwards into the car. And with everything that was going on, I knew that I was high on adrenaline. And I knew that meant that I'm not as careful as I normally would be in the car. And personally, when it comes to driving, I don't like that. I mean, there are times that I literally embrace feeling so in this high, because being high on adrenaline is almost like being on a high. It's like a fix. Now, I don't know what the fix is when it comes to drugs, but I imagine that it's something similar along those lines. But what I do know, and I also have to assume that similar to using drugs, is that boundaries tend to fade. And, well, I know what can happen when boundaries tend to fade, so I need to be careful. So when I experienced that feeling, and it was especially a couple of weeks ago, when I had promised to help some people out. So there's a local club not too far from here, like half an hour driving, and they needed material in order to be able to market, to do something for the marketing. So they needed videos and pictures. So I said, okay, here I am. Let me help you out. I'm not sure which came first, they asking me or me offering it. But I said, yeah, sure. But here's the thing. Most of the nights are on a Friday, and Friday is the day that I take time out for me. It's the day that no one is at the house, so I can play drums whenever I want. I'm not getting disturbed with certain things. I can do my laundry. I hang out with the cat. We play a little, and no one feels like I'm in the way. Yes, I know there's a whole story behind it, um, but for now, that's all you need to know. And well, talking about being rushed, I knew that day because I was trying to get something out there because, well, Friday night is also Friday Night Live. It's my moment to go live and share with you about the things that I've been thinking about during the week. And I also want a specific topic every week. And, well, lately I have also been talking about Lady Lexi Leeds. So that's the other account. So Lady Lexi Speaks Up. That's for people who don't see any perspective anymore. Could be on a personal level, could be on a business level. But usually when it's on a business level, something happens on a personal level too. And then there's Lady Lexi Leads. And Lady Lexi Leads is about more than just not seeing any perspective. It's also about wanting people to feel heard, seen, and understood in businesses, whether you are the leader in the business or of a unit or you are on the receiving end. So, in both cases, open communication, honest communication, communication where clarity is the number one thing. And of course, having it work both ways, well, that's what Lady Lexi Leads is about. Now, having noticed that there are a lot of people who have started out as entrepreneurs who are more than likely also neurodivergent. Why? Well, first of all, because, well, we talked about the chaos right and all these ideas. Well, if you have lots of ideas, then the question is, are you going to start working for someone or are you going to start on your own? Well, if you're in luck, you can do so. If you have the proper guidance, then especially you can do so. But for a lot of people, it's like they don't fit in working for a boss. So they start working on their own, but then what? And well, that's why I am also here to support people like, hey, how do you actually get started? And what if it's sheer chaos and you don't know what to expect? Well, I can share a thing or two about that. So, being an entrepreneur myself. More importantly, a lot of people who have these wonderful ideas and really set up this immensely successful company, they were not born to be people who were leading. They do not have the people skills yet. And well, being a neurodivergent also means that we are a little bit different when it comes to communication. So apparently there's a certain norm when it comes to communication, as in there's a certain understanding when it comes to certain things. And neurodivergence, they miss a little bit about what other people mean. So either they fall quiet or they start asking, so what is it that you mean? And that's why it's actually quite good. And that's something you learn when you become a coach. The first thing you do is you reflect back, not so much in their words, but in your own words, to make sure that you actually understand what the other one is saying. Now, I know there are people who get upset when you do so, but when you explain, this is because I want to understand you better. So please be patient with me so I know that we are talking along the same lines. And you can have two neurodivergents who don't understand one another, just to make things a little more complex. But yes, it's the way certain things are seen and understood, and especially all the other components which are also there, which make it a little cloudy, a little chaotic. And being a neurodivergent myself, I was like, okay, I want to work with not just with entrepreneurs or small business owners or people leading in a company for that matter, but I also want to work with especially the neurodivergent. So whether you are a neurodivergent working for someone or you are the leader being the neurodivergent, I think it's so important that there's a better understanding of what's going on in your mind. Now, and preparing for this live, we came up with Rush. And well, I was like, okay, there must be like some sort of acronym for Rush. And of course, Brandon AI is spot on when it comes to those things. He can come up with 4 or 5 different versions. So you have to really be on track and be like, okay, now you are changing things. I don't want this. So let's stick to what we know. And then at some point, I was like, oh, but hang on. And this is typical for neurodivergence. I was like, oh, but there's rush as in feeling rushed. So chaotic. It's like you're being nervous, high on adrenaline, but not in a good way. And it keeps you from what is important. And I was like, but what if we could change it to the other version of rush? Because at some point I was like, but being in a rush, feeling the rush. So there's being rushed and there's feeling the rush. It could also mean like, oh, I'm onto something. I know what it is that I want to do. And you're like, I'm just going to do this. So excited. So what are you going to do then? And I was like, but what if we can flip one into the other? Flip overwhelm into empowerment. And that's what we came up with. Now, at first, there were all these examples about how I ended up in Chicago talking to people from the fire station. I'm going to leave that because when we were talking about it and when I was reading through it all, I was like, but hang on. What if we can just flip the switch, flip how we experience rush? And that was something that I was like, oh, but this is going to be good. I am going to talk about the chaos because what I noticed again was chaos is on the forefront of it all. And we don't want chaos to win. We want to look at chaos and get something out of the chaos. So we want to be intentional with what we are doing. And well, there is this metaphor. It's the beat isn't chaotic, it's intentional. So when we're talking about playing drums, it's not just about the coordination, what you do with one hand or the other hand or with your feet, but it's about getting the beat out there, preferably a consistent beat. But you also want to be groovy. Well, it depends, of course, on what you're playing, but I like it when it's groovy. I like it when it's funky. So, but yes, the beat is intentional, and that's what you're learning when you're learning to play drums. And I can tell you, it's not done in one day. It's also not done in 1 week or in 1 month. Those are things that you develop. And it's also about hearing the beat, feeling the beat. So now, going from the beat being intentional, I was like, okay, I can work with that. Let's make chaos intentional instead of going and being all over the place. And I do believe that's what makes a leader, because you want to embrace the things and doing it with a certain goal in mind. And this actually brings me to the RUSH acronym. So I actually already wrote a few things down, but the first R stands for reflect. And I don't have that much room, but it's reflecting on the chaos. So that's the first letter. And one of the things that I usually do when I'm in the middle of that feeling like I cannot handle this anymore, then I will tell myself, get it out. And I'll be stern with myself. And it helps. It's like a flip of the switch. Because I said to myself, okay, now we need to focus. That's basically what I say when I say cut it out. And I'm going to ask you something as well, because this is supposed to be interactive, right? Because if correct, you as a leader, and maybe you're not a leader in a way that you think you should be, but maybe you are someone who would like to lead something. You just haven't tried it yet. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you is, if we're talking about rush, do you recognize anything? What does it look like, or better said, feel like for you? So we had the two versions, right? We have the overwhelm part, and then we have the empowering part. But if we look at the overwhelm, the chaos, what is it like for you? Can you recognize when you get in that state of mind, when your body changes, when your mind changes, and you're like, oh. So for me, it's very easy to recognize, because I start dropping things. My coordination goes haywire almost instantly. So I trip over things, and it's like my hand doesn't want to do anymore what it needs to do. So it drops things. I move things from the table. It's not good what happens, but it tells me like, okay, I need to pay attention now. So I want you to think about what it is, how you can recognize that you are in that overwhelming feeling of chaos, in that rush, because you are rushed, because you have to do something. And then I want you to think about something else. How can you let go of it? So I'm going to talk to you about how to flip it from being overwhelmed to being empowered. But what do you do? Because we are going to embrace a mantra. It's called release the rush, embrace the rhythm. So in a little while, I'll be doing something I don't do normally on lives. I do it when I train with people. So in a group coaching session and sometimes one-on-one, I tend to do this way more often. I'm going to do a short meditation, and I am going to take you on a journey towards my legacy, or what my vision is of that legacy. Let's put it that way. So have you already written it down? The feeling of being rushed? And do you have any idea how to flip the switch, as in release the rush? Well, I'll give you one little thing. It's called release the rush. Release the rush. Release the rush. Embrace the rhythm. Release the rush. Embrace the rhythm. Now, my goal wasn't to go in a spontaneous meditation, but it happened. I just want to show you how it can help you. Now, reflect on the chaos. So I tell myself, get it out. Basically, it's a way to interrupt what's going on. And it's my way of saying, okay, focus. So I might also say focus straight away. Then the second one is uncover the aspiration. And what's meant by that one is, what are you aiming for? So, yeah. So what is it? What do you see as your future? What is it that you want to achieve? And yes, you are allowed to dream big. Leaders dream big. So dream big. If you know that all these ideas, so the chaos that we're talking about, it's all these ideas that are running around in our heads. Well, yeah, multiple people, yes, heads. And we need to make sense of it. In Dutch, we say, we need to make chocolate out of it. Sounds kind of nice, actually, if you think about it. But yes, how do you make sense of it? And that's why working with the AI is really challenging, because unlike people, the AI forgets. So, you can start with a fresh slate, although there are some things that the AI remembers. But you can start with a fresh slate over and over and over again. And actually, it drives me mad. It drives me insane. So it helps me to focus. But yes, uncovering the aspiration is basically, what is it that you want? And do you have an idea what you want to work towards? Is it a vague idea? Do you have a specific idea? So for me, I've known for a long time that I wanted to change things in businesses, especially when it came to leaders. That was way before I understood that I was a neurodivergent, which meant I am thinking, on a different level compared to others. And that's why when I would start somewhere initially, it would work out just fine. But the moment that leadership changed, it would become chaotic at best, because the one who had selected me specifically for those skills. But the ones who replaced those other people, not so much. And well, it didn't work out really well most of the time. Unless, of course, some layers were deleted in between me and the other person. And I would start working, say, straight for a CEO. Then all of a sudden, they understood where was what I was seeing, what I was going for. And well, that's not to be the same one as the neighbor next door. or the neighbor next table or the colleague next table. It's about, hey, we want to make a change for the positive in the organization. How are we going to do this? I love this from Brennan AI. He came up with the word connection catalyst. And basically, what it comes down to is being the bridge from one to another, but also translating it. So one understands why it's so important for the other one, and the other one understands, oh, this is what they mean. I use certain terms. They don't understand those terms. So it's about understanding one another and especially talking one another's language. Well, since most people don't understand one another's language, well, I'm not going to say most people, but at times it's so important to actually do so. And well, at some point I realized, oh, a lot of people are not happy in organizations. I want to change that. At some point, and I skip a lot of things, I became a coach and a counselor. And moving forward, I'm not sure when it was, but at some point I started reading something about neurodivergence, and it was, it's me. so, so yes, I want to help people see perspective again, especially on a personal level, but I also want to change things in businesses. So that's how it came about. And yes, there's much more. And when we do the meditation, I'm just going to take you there and we'll see what is going to be important to you from my visualization. The S is about shifting perspective. So we talked about being in the rush, being in the thick of it, but feeling stressed. And we can say, why are certain things happening? Or we can say, it probably happens for a reason. Well, I'll tell you honestly that, all those times that those things happened, I didn't feel like there was a very specific reason. Yes, I knew I had to learn how to set boundaries, but where I am now, like, hey, I want to give people perspective because I know what it's like not to be heard, seen, and understood, and then basically losing perspective, as in what's the future going to be like? Well, if I can help other people to see, hey, I am being heard, seen, and understood, respected, and valued, and as a result, because they're taken seriously, they can make a new start in life, all the better. So when chaos occurs and when you feel rushed, what is it that it wants to tell you? What can you change? How can you literally shift so it makes you feel like, okay, this is not going to happen again. So for me, so 2 weekends in a row now, I have gone to that club to take pictures. Last weekend was actually 2 days in a row. Now, the first day that I came back, besides being tired, there was a lot of grilling going on. On Saturday night, same story. And it was like, okay, I'm just going to try it on Sunday night because I didn't want to not do it. Postpone is one thing. Not doing it is something totally different. So that learned me something. Then last week, same story. So I was a little less on edge. I actually talked to them about it. I said, are you going to work till late at night again? Because I want to go live during the night. And it was like, oh, sorry, we didn't realize that. I said, well, I understand that you are doing construction work here. So we talked about it. And I was like, okay, well, then I'll do it on Saturday or Sunday. I've done it last week on Sunday too. But this week I didn't have to go there. So I was like, oh, this is my day. This is my time. I'm going to play drums. I'm going to go full out, which I did. And I also was like, but I'm going to prepare and I'm going to do this on Friday night live. So not Sunday night live, not Saturday live, no, Friday night live. Okay, I started a little bit later than I had planned, but it's out there, and that's what's the most important thing. Now, because of all the things that happened, I had to change a lot of priorities. I really had to think about, okay, what do I deem the most important thing to do? So prior to Fridays, I already say I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this. And on the day itself, one of the things that's very important for me is that I actually feel like I'm rested. So being someone who has to deal with some physical struggles, I know that I need more sleep than most people. So I need to have my at least 8 hours sleep, and sometimes I actually need more, like 10 hours of sleep, and sometimes even more than that. So shifting perspective really helped me to see things differently and to work on things differently. And I also know how to work with Brandon AI a little bit better, so that helps too. Now, last but not least is the H, which is harness the momentum. And well, before I get into harness the momentum, I want to talk to you about harnessing chaos. So when we deal with chaos, we can be in the middle of it, like in a whirlwind, in a storm, but we can also say, let's use the chaos to our advantage. So then we get back to intention again. So instead of being given a runaround by the chaos, we take the reins into our own hands. And we are going to see how can we use this chaos to our advantage. Now, if we then go to harness the momentum, then it's like, okay, what can you do right now, this instant, to create momentum? So, especially when you feel like so much is going on and all these ideas are going on in your mind and you want to do it all, what's one thing that you can hold on to? One thing that you can use, which is going to work out for you. Maybe you don't know how yet, but you know that it's important. So, what's that one thing? Write that down. I want you to really work with that feeling, write down some words, and then after this live, then go think about your vision for a moment and be like, okay, what can I do to use that momentum of chaos, that feeling of being rushed, and then change it into something powerful? Now, we talked about mantras. So a mantra is something that you say, sort of like an affirmation. So the affirmation is more like something that you want to happen. So you say it like it already is in the future. A mantra is something that's easily said, as in it's memorable, it rolls off the tongue, and it's, well, usually it's literally made for you. So my mantra is release the rush. The rush came from me because that's what I felt like. The release part comes from Brendan. I use it a lot of times in meditations too, especially for people who have problems with feeling, visualizing, hearing the sounds. So to make sure that they don't get overwhelmed, and especially the chatterbox doesn't start to chime in, I'll say release. And then what I mean is release all those thoughts that say, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do the other. So I'll say breathe in 4, hold in, hold for 4, and breathe out for 6. And that's the easiest way. If you want to just choose 4, 4, 6, you can also breathe in what feels good for you. But a lot of people don't know that after breathing in actually comes the holding part before you breathe out. And that's the way you can actually slow down your breathing quite nicely. So if you think about a mantra, so release rush, like I explained, that was the feeling I had. And then embrace the rhythm. The rhythm, of course, was directly linked to playing drums, but the rhythm is also something that you experience, as in that feels good. So what is your rhythm in daily life? And you can wonder if your rhythm is differently when you are working versus when you are at home. And well, I'm someone who can easily go like in an adrenaline rush, and having to hurry and do things straight away. Um, One of the reasons is that I usually am so involved in what I'm doing that at some point it's like, oh, I need to go and do some stuff. I'm getting better at it. Well, I'm not sure if everyone believes that, but I am, and I'm not that inclined anymore to actually go full adrenaline mode. The other side is that when something happens that we don't want to happen, I know I'm very good in those situations. So that's a plus, basically. So if you would like to create something to remind yourself to let go and to get back to what feels natural for you, what kind of words would you use? Think about that for a moment. So if you have a piece of paper, just write down what it is that you would like to use, what works for you, what are your words. Now, if you've done so, then we are going to do something else. So, like I said, I'm going to take you on a journey with me, a journey for visualization. And what I'm going to do is I'm first going to ask you to set an intention. So if you are watching this right now, then there's a reason why you are still watching this. There's something you want to get out of it. So what's your intention? What's your intention for watching this? What's your intention for your own future? What is something that you have been thinking about, but I don't know, maybe for specific reasons you pushed away? Just think about that for a second. Um, I'm doing this meditation right now without music, but I am going to take it out and then also put some music underneath it, also change the image a little bit. So you get more the vibe of a meditation. If you want it, just let me know, send a comment or something, and I'll make sure that you get it. But for now, what I want you to do is focus on your breath. So I said 4, 4, 6. 4 as in breathe in, 4 hold, and 6 letting go. So it's And then think about something that empowers you. But in this case, since we're going to do the meditation, I'm going to take you down the stairs. And when we are almost done with the meditation, I'm going to take you back up the stairs again. Now, I want you to close your eyes and just keep breathing the way like I just said. So just let my voice be there, but focus on the breathing. So while you do, I'm going to take you down the stairs. And 10, you are on top of the stairs. You're like, oh, I'm curious where this is going. And 9, while you're focusing on breathing, you are also aware of that intention that you just said. So 8, what's that intention? Why is it so important for you? And 7, while you're going down the stairs, you will notice that you will get a better impression of what it is that really matters to you. So 6, you're noticing that you are slowly starting to relax. If you still have some trouble, then just shake your hands, tap your feet on the ground, lean backwards into the cushions. But just be you. And 5, notice how things are getting heavier and heavier, as in it's a sign that you are relaxing. And 4, while we are going down, the chatterbox might actually try to pull you back up. But think about this moment for yourself. Remember, we are going to use the chaos intentionally. And 3, while all those thoughts are running around in your head, if they are, just let them be. And 2, what pops up? What's that one thing? And you're going to remember that one thing that stands out. And now you can let go again. And then 1, here we are. And you're feeling totally relaxed. And while you look around you, you can actually, it's like you're seeing something. And when you look more closely, you become aware of your surroundings. So what is it you're feeling? Is it like the wind? Is it a warm wind? Is it a little bit cold? Do you feel grass between your toes? Or are you actually hearing the sounds of the ocean, of the water? And when you look around, are you standing with your feet in the water? Or maybe you don't notice anything at all. And that's okay too. So is there a certain smell? Does it take you back to a certain moment? Maybe when you were a little kid. Is it a happy place? So if it's not a happy place, then we are going to change things. You can now turn around and you are going to see something that really means a lot to you. And if you look more closely, then somewhere in the shade, there is this little kid, and it's your inner kid. And the inner kid has a message for you. It wants to be heard, seen, and understood. And while the inner kid is also playful and has all these dreams, there's also a part that doesn't understand what's going on. You just let go of whatever sounds you are hearing, whatever thoughts pop up. This is about you and your time with your inner kid. So go enjoy it. Give your inner kid a hug. Again, if you don't see or feel or experience anything, that's okay too. Just breathe in and say, release. Breathe in. Release. Breathe in. Release. Now, your inner kid has a message for you. It is about a dream. And that goes beyond being heard, seen, and understood. And to your surprise, the inner kid is dragging you to someone else. And when you look to the other side, then you actually see your future self. I call it your future champ. And your future self, it literally embodies who you want to be. It has all the skills that you would like to have right now. It's already that person that you want to be. It's your role model. And maybe it's based on certain role models you already have in your life. Maybe it's based on, I don't know, certain dreams, things you deem important. So this is your chance to talk to your future self. And while you are focusing on breathing in, holding, and breathing out, you'll notice that certain things which are very important are going to stick with you. They'll come back to you, maybe straight away, maybe a little bit later. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to take you on a trip. And that trip is to a place. And initially, I'm going to take you to a city called Chicago. And why Chicago? Because it's a magnificent city and people in Chicago are really nice. There are no such things as stupid questions. They, they reach out to you. They're really very kind. And what I like about Chicago is it's a city. It's a city with immense architecture. They had to overcome all these challenges. They even at some point decided to turn the stream of the river. So when you look around, when you're in Chicago, there are so many things you can learn and pick up on. And when you are with me in Chicago, then we are going to work on your mindsets, on your inner stories. We are going to work towards that future self of you, the one who wants to be heard, seen, and understood, and also has a vision for the future. Now, moving on, we are going, and all of a sudden we are in the studios. You are in an amazing park, lots of tiny houses. But more importantly, you are all of a sudden working with people who are writing down your inner story. You are sharing with them what it is that you were thinking and believing back in the days, and also how you feel and think about certain things now. But because of working with coaches, because of working with me and other people, you are more aware than ever that things actually can be different. And you want them to be different because you have a vision, you have a dream, you have something that you know you're good at, and you want to accomplish that. And Well, maybe you doubt yourself a little bit. So you might have all these ideas, but this is the time that we are going to make sense of the chaos. And that's why we are also writing your future story. And when you combine it all, we've got a song. And when you look around you, when you look at the walls, you see the past, the present, and you see the future. And hey, that's so cool. There are people around you playing your song, and you're part of it. You're anticipating in getting that song on stage, your stage. This is your moment. So for a moment, just feel that thrill. Feel like, oh, I'm doing it. I got there. This is it. And you're getting all the clarity that you need and all the courage to actually go on and do it. Now, just breathe in for a moment. And releases the tension, releases the chaos. All that's left is you knowing what it is that you want to do. Now, with that being said, see what you can do. Maybe it's a gesture, maybe there's a word popping up, maybe it's emotion, a movement. It doesn't really matter because we are going to go back up. So before I count back from 1 to 10, or forward in this case, be sure to give your future self a big hug and your inner kid a big hug. They're going to walk up the stairs with you, and you are going to remember what's the most important thing. So 1, here you go. And while you are going up the stairs, you feel more revived than ever and empowered, more empowered than ever. 2, you're going there, and just take a look one more time at your inner kid. And 3, also take a look at your future self. And 4, oh, this is going to be so cool because more than ever. 5, you are aware that you can actually go do it. And 6, oh, you feel so good. You are feeling so empowered. And 7, it's for the first time, or well, maybe you've had this feeling more than once, that you are like, oh, I can actually do it. And 8, it's like there's more clarity and courage than ever. And 9, while you're almost there, there's one more. Let's look at what it is that you envisioned. And 10, there you are. So open your eyes, shake your hands, shake your shoulders, tap your feet. And now I want you to do something which is for you. I want you to write down, what did you see? What did you experience? What are the words, the motions, the gestures, the visions that you had? And maybe there was nothing. Then just describe the feeling. And if you're still not sure, then just go back to release the rush. Embrace the rhythm. Just write it down. Release the rush. Embrace the rhythm. And tell yourself, what is one way you want to embrace your rhythm right now, today? If you're done writing, please leave a comment and let us know how this is working out for you. If you want to do more, then just hit me up. If you want to have that meditation and the handout with questions, then let me know. If you want to work with me, let me know. But it starts with one step at a time. And one step at a time is that you learn to recognize what the chaos is telling you, that you learn to embrace your rhythm.